They have the looks, they have the talent, and they have the agency. So what is exactly stopping them from making it big?
What happened to 88 Rising?
As Nona has only just debuted, it is way too early to assess their long-term brand success. But what can we do at this very moment is to evaluate the effectiveness of their debut and the potential they hold within the Asian music industry. So, in this video we're gonna analyze their launch using the SWOT framework, highlighting the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to explore how Nona might position themselves in this oversaturated girl group industry. Hello there, thanks so much for clicking. I'm Patrick and welcome back to another video. I upload weekly reaction videos from K-pop to pop, from pop to K-pop, and recently I started my brand new series called Marketing Case Studies. Since I'm a marketing graduate who works in social media, I'll be breaking down what really goes on behind the scenes in pop culture from a marketing perspective. So if you are curious about how the industry actually works, definitely stick around, you will not regret it. What the hell is a SWOT analysis? It's a strategic framework used to evaluate your brand at its current state. It helps you understand where you're at in the market. It is actually very basic, but it's key when you're doing a launch. In the case of Nona, how successful are you right now in the music industry? Okay, now let's make this clear. I've had professors who said doing a SWOT analysis by yourself is meaningless if you're not working with the brand or with the group internally. But on the other hand, I've had also professors say that yes, you should do a SWOT framework because it helps you practice and actually helps you in critical thinking. And what is practice? Exactly, the mother of all skills. So let's look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of Nona. Strength number 1, a clear visual identity and a strong package. One of Nona's main strengths is that they debuted with a clear visual identity.
Why did you choose your fandom name to be what it is?
It's an island thing because our concept is so island girl. So we were like, oh, our kids, we could translate it to our kids.
The makeup, the visuals, the music videos, the fandom name, all very cohesive. They were not conceptually unclear. They came with a cohesive package that is easy to remember. Because in an oversaturated girl group industry, the clarity is often more valuable than the raw talent alone. Because talent alone does not build a brand. You have to have a finished product to be able to sell it. I will always mention how underrated the conversation is when it comes to color psychology. It's so basic, so simple, yet so overlooked when launching a brand. Because people feel before they think. Your brain reacts to colors subconsciously. Just one color itself can tell you, is this aligning with my taste? And that is where it starts. Nona's visual identity is centered around a blue-toned, nature-inspired, often described as like a soft, mermaid-like aesthetic. This alone distinguishes them from the flashy, neon, maybe childlike concepts. A well-known and perfect example is Billie Eilish's latest album era. Like, do you remember the logo? Yeah, with the neon green aesthetic. For this album, she chose emotional growth and a more mature color palette. And it was a perfect choice because that neon green aesthetic was very personal with her younger fanbase. But she understands that with her fanbase is also growing. So Billie is evolving with them. She's not giving them the same product over and over again. So choosing these bluish and mature colors made so much more sense than being stuck in that neon green era. How would you perceive Blackpink if they were called Black Green? You see how crucial it is to choose the right color, because one color can define your whole career. Weaknesses. Timing. Just when the Korean wave, the Hallyu, was blowing up, Blackpink became the it girl group, not just in Korea, but globally. This alone doesn't mean that they can't succeed, but it means that their path will look a lot more different. And possibly, obviously, will be a much slower process. Because as of today, there is no such thing as the Indonesian wave that brings Indonesian music to the rest of the world. The next thing that slightly connects with timing is platform limitations. Why? Let me explain. Head in the Clouds is entering a global and a huge recession.
I've had like success and then my flop era.
That first flop,
Yeah.
how did it feel?
When the festival first launched back in the days, it positioned itself as a real competitor to Coachella by connecting Asian artists with global artists all together. Like one year they had Zed, they had Saweetie, they had Rina Sawayama, helping the path of other 88 rising artists such as Joji, Rich Brian. That crossover attracted so many new audiences beyond the Asian music scene and helped not only the festival but the artists also grow in relevance. Over the years, Head in the Clouds, 88 Rising started to work with less and less US artists, and this was a huge limitation to 88 Rising. Their lineups became more inward facing, mostly targeting audiences who were already fans.
What happened to 88 Rising? I wish this billboard had like the craziest list of Asian artists, like Janae Aiko, Olivia Rodrigo. Maybe have like a Blackpink, BTS, or J Park come back. But I just feel like they're not doing anything.
You see, I think the reason why 88 Rising fell off was because they are ignoring their original audience. It always felt like Asians were outliers, but 88 Rising just gave us the platform to stand side by side with some of the biggest artists in the world.
So it's like the festival just stopped reaching for new fans. They are just focusing on fans that are already there. So for Nona, this is for sure a big weakness because they're not exposed to the global audience. Weakness number 3. The lack of pre-debut build-up. Strong debut numbers are a result of months, maybe years of anticipation, because pre-debut content allows audiences to connect with them even before the debut, even before the first release, which directly affects the streams, the views, the sales. I'm not gonna lie to you if I say that Korean agencies have mastered this stuff. A strong example, YG, Blackpink, BTS, who had extensive pre-debut promotions, teasers, and media exposure under YG Entertainment. Cat's Eye benefited from what? From Dream Academy. Not even talking about Stray Kids, Boys Planet, Girls Planet. These survival shows are just another marketing strategy. And that is why I'm not lying when I say that K-pop has mastered one of the biggest and most successful marketing strategies. The pre-debut exposure. Nona debuted with the bare minimum. A few posts, a few articles. The thing that you flew them to LA, that's good. Actually, but it made no noise. Why? Because they lacked that pre-debut exposure. I want to connect the slash weakness and a slash opportunity in one because let's start with this missed opportunity they had. The Head in the Clouds poster, let's talk about that for a minute. Your own agency, 88 Rising, not even mentioning your name. What is this? And I don't care if they haven't officially debuted at the date or when the poster was out. You missed the greatest opportunity to make a big reveal. It was the greatest opportunity to make noise, to prepare for the big reveal, to like set a mysterious mood, to build up tension before debuting a new group. And what did you do instead? You made the girls perform at 5 p.m. in the greatest heat for a maximum of 150 people in the audience. That is not how you debut a group. Okay, now let's get to the real opportunities. They have a real opportunity to build up a loyal fanbase at this point. They debuting with like a calm, mature concept was a very wise choice. Stay with me. However, they immediately positioned this girl group to like a niche and less crowded audience. This niche allows them to click right away with the right audience. Even if that audience is small at first, it builds a loyal fan base that resonates with the group's identity. And that is so much more sustainable than trying to appeal to everyone at once. So now that they had established their first audience, they can move on to the next step. Expand. By releasing Sizzle in collaboration with Mobile Legends, they can attract a younger and more like K-poppy audience without losing their first core audiences. First connecting with a mature, loyal audience and then expand their fanbase. If they had started with the mainstream K-poppy aesthetic and switched later, I don't think it would be the same. Their first fans might not have connected as well with them. This might be not the most creative approach when you're building a fanbase, but it makes a safe step-by-step strategy that works. Threats. Okay, it would be very entitled for me if I was like listing some threats here, but let me emphasize one thing. Associations. Now, associations can be bad, can be good. For girls, for talented visuals. Let's see some other girl groups. You see, these are the associations that can be good or bad. Why? Nona being associated with Blackpink? You think that's good, right? Now let me explain why it can cause more harm than good. Your audience will expect you to be as good as the one you are associated with. And anything else and everything else below that will never be enough. That said, this doesn't have to be necessarily a threat, but if Nona sticks to releasing quality content and a cohesive album rollout, which let's be real wasn't the most cohesive, and also the mass releasing at the start wasn't the greatest choice, what more can they do? Brand collaborations, such as with Samsung, that was so good, such a good step. I think Nona has so many other opportunities beyond Samsung. It's not gonna make them stand out, but it's gonna guarantee the exposure they need. Attend award shows, let the girls have fun. Let's look at Cat's Eye. They attended, they went viral. It leads to organic content, which is more than you could pay for. Do more lives. I think this doesn't need an explanation. More lives, more content, more memes. The last thing I will mention is to experiment with catchy lyrics. Why? I think as of right now, they are keeping it very safe. Let's look at a few viral songs from last year. What do they have in common? Besides that, they went viral. Catchy, easy to remember, lyrics. It just clicks with the audience. They use it. They want to use it. It's very easy to remember. And it makes numbers. Anyways, we came to the end of this video. I really hope you guys that you enjoyed this content. So this was all from me today. Let me know. It can be reactions, like videos like this, like marketing case